0.2. Scientific notation. Some of the measurements that we use in physics come from things that are much too big, like the size of planets, the size of the universe, and anything in space tends to be really huge. Or they're much too small. This is the mass of particles, the mass of protons, electrons, neutrons, atoms. They're much too small to write out. For example, the mass of the Earth. Earth, or ME, is 597 with 22 zeros following it. Kilograms. This is much too big to write out every time. The mass of the proton, on the other hand, which is a subatomic particle found in the nucleus of an atom, is very, very small. The mass of the proton is 0.26 zeros (167) kilograms. Scientific notation makes writing these numbers much, much easier. We can use scientific notation to shrink them and to make writing simpler. But in order to use scientific notation, you have to know how to use the format properly. In scientific notation, the mass of the Earth becomes 5.97 times 10 to the 24 kilograms. The mass of the proton becomes 1.67 times 10 to the negative 27 kilograms. The standard format for scientific notation is A.BC times 10 to the D. It is important to know that there should only ever be one digit in front of the decimal. D is an exponent. It's positive if it's a big number you're changing, and it's negative if it's a small number that you're changing into scientific notation. To write a number in scientific notation, you move the decimal over. Until there's only one digit in front of it. Drop extra zeros, because the whole point of this was to get rid of all the zeros that were getting really annoying to write out. So drop the extra zeros and write it as A.BC times 10 to the D, where D is the number of places you move the decimal. Remembering that D is positive if you were changing a big number into scientific notation, and D is negative if you were changing a small number, a decimal number, into scientific notation. Here's an example. 5030000. We start by finding the decimal and moving it over until the only number in front of it is the 5. There's only one number allowed in front of the decimal. Then we count how many places we moved it. In this case, we moved it 6 times over. This means that we have 5.03 times 10 to the 6. We could also look at a small number, 0.000072. We move the decimal over until 7 is the only number in front of it, and we moved it over 5 times to get there. This means we get 7.2 times 10 to the negative 5. This is negative because it was a small number. To use scientific notation, you need to know how to enter scientific notation properly into your calculator. Since all calculators are different, you might have a different button than your friends that you use to do scientific notation. Use the E button, which looks like E, EE, EXP, or sometimes 10 to the X, or times 10 to the X. For example, the E button takes the place of the times 10 in the scientific notation. So for example, if you're entering the mass of the electron, which is 9.11 times 10 to the minus 31 into your calculator, you would actually enter 9.11 E button negative 31. Let's look at a couple of calculator examples. In the graphing calculators, you have to use the second function to find the EE. The EE is hidden under the comma, and you have to hit second to get at it. EXP is common on the Calcio calculators, and times 10 to the X is common too.